Hello and welcome to the RotoWire predicted lineup show for Game Week 2. I'm Adam Zdroik. You can find me at RotoZdroik on Twitter. You can follow RotoWire Soccer at RotoWire Soccer on Twitter. I'm going to be going over my lineups for Game Week 2 in the Premier League. There are 9 matches, Burnley and Luton Town. That match was postponed about a month ago, but I'll be using our cheat sheet, rotowire.com/soccer trial. It's a free 48-hour trial, and you get these cheat sheets along with all of our stats and along with a lot of other stuff. But these cheat sheets is what I'll be using here. So check out these lineups. The cheat sheets include these lineups. They include injuries. They include suspensions. They include this odds report. They include goal scoring odds. Haaland -165 to score. Salah -135 to score. You can see all of these player goal scoring odds on one page. Pretty fun, pretty convenient, pretty easy. Also, check it out. We've had one match. So we have stats. We got a free kick tracker, which is also on here. And look at this. You get free kicks for every team. So this includes, corners, free kicks from the pitch, whatnot. So all that is there. Also, you got player stats for all these teams, for all these players, per 90-minute stats there. And then you got team stats conceded per match. You can sort that out home or away as well. All this is on our cheat sheets, and this is our FPL cheat sheet, which includes every team, every match for the upcoming game week. So this is Game Week 2. This is our FPL cheat sheet. I'll be running through all the teams, trying to make sense of what's going on here. There's a lot of transfer news. This is before, I think there's only been 2-3 injury. There's only been 2 or 3 press conferences. This is pretty much before injuries news is out, before all that stuff is out, trying to make sense of everything. A little bit of help for FPL, a little bit of help for So Rare, whatever you want to use this for. I'll try and make sense of each team. This shouldn't be too bad, as a lot of this is, a lot of these managers like to just kind of repeat lineups if there's no injuries and that kind of thing. So there's a few teams like that where nothing really changes. But look at these odds. Liverpool, 2.52 implied goal total. The biggest favorite by a wide margin for the week. But we have a Friday match again. Nottingham Forest in their home opener of the season against Sheffield United. So Nottingham Forest, looking at their lineup, I originally had Taiwo Awani in the starting 11, but as Steve Cooper came out, he said that Awani probably shouldn't have played last week, though he helped a little bit get that goal against Arsenal. I think he had the assist on it, but actually maybe he scored. Alanga assisted Awani, but I had Awani in there. Wasn't fully healthy, wasn't fully fit because he hadn't been training fully. So Wani's out. I actually moved Alanga in. So I'm changing this up a little bit. Nottingham Forest went with 3-4-3, basically 3-4-2-1 in their opener. But I think home against Sheffield United, I think they're going to do a little more, maybe a little more attacking. I have kind of something weird here, 4-3-2-1. They did this at times last season. I don't think they're going to move someone like Chris Wood in. I think they're going to put Alanga in instead of one of those center backs, so they're a little more attacking. And then Danilo will probably be playing kind of in front of Mangala and Yates in the midfield. We still got Gibbs White. We still got Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson, last I saw, he's in some rumors to go to Chelsea, so that's going to be a constant thing kind of for the next few weeks unless something happens with that. But I got Alanga in because he's actually fit. He's fully fit. Looked pretty solid. Ran past some of the Arsenal guys when he came off the bench. I think he got 10 or 19 minutes, something like that in the opener. Still got Ola Aina at left back, Serge Aurier at right back. They could go with the 3-4-3 again with that center back instead of Alanga, but I'm going with Alanga. I think they want to get this win here in their home opener. I think Cooper's gonna go for it. Sheffield United, I changed a couple things up. I think McBurney, because of his experience, he's back in training this week. Assuming he's fit and ready to go, maybe he's only going to be ready for 60, 70 minutes or something. But I got McBurney in over Asula. I just think you want at least one experienced forward for the first away match of the season instead of last week as Benny Traore and Will Asula. I don't think those guys played bad, but I just think you kind of want the experience of someone like McBurney in the starting 11. So if he's ready, I put him in here. And then I actually replaced, so instead of going Vinicius, who hadn't been training fully, really, he came off the bench in that opener. I actually got Gustavo Hammer in there. He came over from Coventry City, just got him this week, and he plugged. Who'd they start? They started Basham, Chris Basham, basically a center back. They started him in the midfield in that first match, and they kind of just they didn't get much going. They're on the back foot most of that match. Crystal Palace had, I don't know, 24 shots. I think 8 shots to Sheffield United. So I think Gustavo's in there, gives them a little more, offense to their midfield to go along with Osborne and Norwood. I think eventually Vinicius will take Osborne's spot in the midfield, but I got Osborne, Hammer, and Norwood in the midfield right now. Otherwise, everyone should be fine. Baldock and Lau were replaced because of fatigue, really, in the opener. I think both of them are fine, so that shouldn't be changing. Wolverhampton, one team that just hasn't had a ton of injuries for about the past year or so, outside of Sasa Kalajic. His injury, he's still getting back to fitness, getting back to form a little bit. He came off the bench last week, but I don't see any reason for Wolverhampton to change their starting 11. They played pretty well on Monday against Manchester United. Should be pretty similar. I mean, I have a 4-4-2. That's kind of what Opta put it as. I think it could be something like a 4-3-3, could be 4-2-3-1, something like that. I don't think it matters too much. We know Lamina, we know Gomez are going to be the central kind of defensive midfielders in there for Wolverhampton. I mean, no matter who the manager is, Aiton Reed got the start at left back. I mean, that could be something that changes throughout the season. Hugo Bueno, Tony Gomez, there are options. We also got Matt Doherty, an option to replace Tomato at right back. But I think this is pretty solid here. Sarabia, Acuna looked good in that first match as well. We could eventually see Kalajic in there. And then I'm not sure who we would actually replace in the starting 11 if he even gets starts, but something to consider. I mean, all these guys played pretty well in that opener against Manchester United. Probably should have got a point out of it. As for Brighton, I got Adam Webster back in the starting 11. He takes the spot of Jean-Paul Van Heck. And Webster's been training most of the week. I think he actually got back in training last week, but he just wasn't fully fit. So I got Adam Webster back in the starting 11. Still going with James Milner at right back. If he got the start in the first match, why isn't he getting the start again in the second match over Joel Veltman? So, I mean, I think that's going to change at some point. But for now, James Milner is the starting right back for Brighton. Again, we saw him go only 79 minutes. He's not he's not spry and 22 years old. He's a little older, so he's going to be a guy who often gets subbed in any match in which he starts, really. Otherwise, everything pretty much the same. Dahoud, Gross, kind of defensive midfield spots. Actually, I did replace Evan Ferguson with Danny Welbeck. I just think Ferguson is going to eventually win that job. I did this a couple times where I was wrong in the first week where I put Ferguson over Welbeck. I think it's going to eventually happen. This could be a thing where they swap starts every match. So we'll see if that happens here. I think Ferguson is eventually going to win that job. I got him in for this game against Wolverhampton. Liverpool, I did not change anything up. Again, we could see Darwin in there, but we had Gakpo playing a little deeper role in the midfield with McAllister and Szoboszlai against Chelsea. Jota, Diaz. I think Diaz is pretty locked into that spot. We could see Darwin start over Diogo Jota at some point here, but no reason to change it. No real reason to change it here. So I think a pretty safe squad here for Liverpool. Bournemouth, I don't think there are any changes here. Max Aarons went off with I think it was cramp or something in that first match. Let me just click in here. I mean, he signed with Bournemouth, I think it was 2-3 days before that first match. As you can see here, 75 minutes. I think he's fine. So he's in there. Lewis Cook is an option for the midfields, but I believe this is actually the same as what Bournemouth ran out in that first match where they got a point from West Ham. They played okay. Again, this is going to be a more attacking Bournemouth team under Andoni Iraola here. David Brooks looked good in that first match. Jaden Anthony, not so much. Ryan Christie. I think these three midfielders may change a bit throughout the season. We also got Dango, who's injured. We also got Tavernier, who's injured. So we got those guys who are injured. Doesn't seem like Ahmed Traore is under consideration to start. just yet, but this is a pretty set lineup here. The center backs could change here and there, but I think Senesi and Zarbani are their number 1 and 2 center backs there. As for Aaron's, I mean, he's starting with Lloyd Kelly not healthy, Adam Smith not healthy as well. There could be some fluidity to this lineup, but I think they're pretty set here for this game. Fulham, Brentford, Raul Jimenez starting Thursday morning. The latest news is Mitrovic is about ready to sign with a Saudi Arabian club. So it seems like he's out. I really think that Carlos Vinicius should eventually start up front for Fulham, but Jimenez he started their last friendly and he started the opener. So I guess they're going Raul Jimenez here. I don't know if that's actually going to work out for him. We'll see how it goes here, but what did Jimenez do? 58 minutes, and Fulham just looked like a better team once they made some second half substitutions. I removed Willian from the starting 11. He went 45 minutes, didn't really do much. Maybe he just had a 1-year revival in the Premier League, and maybe this could be it for him. Maybe he's going to be off to Saudi Arabia, something like that. I got Dick Cordova-Reid there. I moved Pereira back in the starting 11. I think he's going to be ready. He's had a bit of time to train following the ankle injury, and he got minutes last week. Tom Kearney did get the start, but I mean, Pereira made it 32 minutes. I think he's going to be good to go. Tim Ream returned from his arm injury and started the opener, kind of surprisingly. Paulinho was actually pictured in training this week. He is someone to keep an eye on. He would replace probably Sasa Lukic in the starting 11, so something to keep an eye on there. But that's what we know here. I got Mitrovic and Willian out of the starting 11. Brentford, I moved them to a 4-3-3 in this match. As everyone knows, against the top 6 clubs, some of the better clubs, they moved to a 5-3-2, 3-5-2 kind of a thing. And so that removes the center back. That removed what's his name? What's the former Wolverhampton Nathan Collins from the back line. He started the last match, and this moves in Kevin Shade into the starting 11 in a forward role. So we still have Wissa, we still have Mbomo. I guess of note, Ben Mee did not make the opener, so I do have Christopher Aguirre in the starting 11 here. Ben Mee will be one of the questions if he's healthy or not, because if he's healthy, he'll probably start over Aguirre. Though we could see Aguirre start here. We'll see what kind of spot he has in the squad this season. He was injured the majority of last season. Something to keep an eye on there in terms of his position, because he was a regular. Let's click into his profile here. He was a regular the prior season, almost 2,000 minutes there. Played some center back, played some right back kind of thing, but 9 starts last season just because he was injured the majority of the season. I mean, there's a lot of outs here and not as many DMPs, just battling fitness the majority of the season. Also, what do we got? Matthias Jensen. I don't think he's going to be ready to start. Again, we'll see what Thomas Frank has to say about the injury situation. So I moved in Mikel Damsgaard into the starting 11. He would probably be on a split of set pieces with Mbomo there. So that's Brentford moving to a 4-3-3. Tottenham, big news is, I guess the big question would be Romero on the back line. Went off with a head injury, headed in the goal in that opener against Brentford. So here's the question. We'll hear what Postecoglou has to say about it. If he can't start, it might be Davinson Sanchez because he came on for Romero on that last match. Otherwise, pretty set here. It just seems like Højbjerg is just not going to be on the team. I actually don't know the latest rumor on Højbjerg, but he didn't start the opener, didn't play in the opener. I just Googled him. Tottenham are now very close to selling him. So, that's just been a constant thing. I've seen that headline, the same headline for, the past month. So I just don't think he's going to start here. So Skip, Basuma in the midfield. Madison looked really good in the opener. And then we got those guys up front. We'll see if, Pape Sarr comes in at some point, or if they go maybe more defensive, some kind of 4-3-3 or something. This is basically a 4-3-3 to an extent. So, otherwise, injuries, I don't think there's anything. There's Bentancur. I don't think he's ready to come back. Manchester United. So I don't know. There are no changes here to their lineup. I don't think anyone's coming back. I did remove Lisandro Martinez. Still not a ton of information about what his actual injury is, but I took him out for Lindelof. He didn't really have the greatest first half against Wolverhampton. And I guess they're marking it. I think Varane said after the match that he was feeling his ankle. Martinez was feeling his ankle a little bit, something like that. So I took him out. Lindelof is some would argue that he's actually a better center back than Lisandro Martinez. So he's in there. Otherwise, the same lineup. I guess maybe Christian Eriksen moves in after kind of a downer, kind of an opener for Mason Mount. But I think Mason Mount will stay there as long as he's healthy. Manchester City played midweek against Sevilla. Sevilla, that was yesterday. That was on Wednesday. And they didn't really change. They didn't really have many substitutions. Cole Palmer was the only substitutions for them in the 85th minute. Otherwise, a lot of these guys just played, just went 90. So that we'll see if that changes anything. Like we know De Bruyne is out. Bernardo Silva missed the match because of an illness. I think he's going to be fine. Gavardio got his first start there. He could start in this one. Gavardio could start over someone depending on what Pep wants to do. So I got Stones back in the lineup. He was on the bench midweek. Who else was on the bench midweek? Ruben Diaz was on the bench midweek. So those guys could come in the starting 11 here, which is why I think it's going to happen. And then Gavardio, Pep probably doesn't want to start him, back-to-back matches here over 4 days just after getting him to the team. So Walker, Akanji, Diaz there in the back line. John Stones moving into that kind of fluid midfield role next to Rodri. And then Alvarez starts with Foden, Silva, Grealish is in there. Kovacic went 90 midweek. He could be in here. Maybe you see something like Foden on the left, Kovacic in the middle kind of thing, something like that. Newcastle, no changes here. No real reason. They, won 5-1 in their opener. No real reason to change anything here. Callum Wilson looks like he's going to be a super sub kind of guy. Isak looked awesome. Everyone looked awesome on this team, so no reason for any changes. As usual, Dan Burn at left back, though. They are in some discussions to add Lewis Hall from Chelsea. I think that might have actually been completed. So Lewis Hall may be an option at left back. So he'd probably be a guy that would get minutes over Matt Target if Matt Target gets any minutes. But it's Newcastle, nothing much to go there. We got 3 more matches. Going to need a bit of water here to finish this off. All right, Aston Villa lost Tyrone Mings last match. Luka Digne in rumors to go to Saudi Arabia. So we'll see what happens here. But Luka Digne started the opener. There's a chance we get Ezri Konsa next to Diego Carlos at center back with Pau Torres at left back. I thought Torres was going to start left back in the opener. Didn't happen. Luka Digne here. So I'm not sure if Unai Emery wants to, his lone his 3 main center backs, play them all at this point. So I think Digne will continue to start at left back. I got Leon Bailey still in there. He went off after the first half in that opener. I think he's going to be fine to start. I just couldn't decide on if Yuri Tielemans actually started, how this lineup would look. It's pretty fluid, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2 kind of a thing. Watkins, Diaby, maybe more attacking, and without Ramsey ready to start. We'll see. McGinn kind of plays all over. We know Kamara and Luis are kind of more of the defensive midfielders, though Yuri Tielemans is in that spot. So Tielemans could start over Bailey. I just have questions about why they would actually do that at home against Everton. It just feels like kind of a more defensive lineup, but maybe Tielemans is going to play in a different role for Villa than he did for Leicester. Everton, no real changes here. They added Jack Harrison, but he's going to be out for about a month here. McNeil's still going to be out. Calvert-Lewin not going to be ready to start. He wasn't even on the bench in the opener. I got Dan Juma starting over Maupay. I think that you get him another week of training, and he played 18 minutes in that opener. I think he's going to be the preferred option over Maupay. Maupay could start again, but again, Everton had so many chances to score in that opener. They just couldn't do it. I think Dan Juma just kind of changes it up a little bit. So this is the same lineup otherwise for Everton. West Ham home. West Ham and Chelsea are the teams with probably the most questions here of anyone. As you can see, James Ward-Prowse entering the starting 11. I got him in that defensive midfield role. So the big question I guess we'll have, so as I'm talking, the news was that Manchester City are going to put one final bid in for Paqueta ahead of the weekend, and it's either going to be accepted or it's not going to be accepted. So if it's not accepted, Paqueta's probably going to be in the starting 11. He'll probably start in the same role as last week, and then maybe we might then, I think that the Fornals and Ward-Prowse positions are kind of interchangeable. Like we had that in the last match, Fornals and Paqueta kind of interchangeable there, trying to figure out what they're going to do without Rice on the field. Though Edson Alvarez has been training this week, I'm just not sure he's ready to start. So that's why we still have these questions. I think eventually, West Ham may still add someone else, but we could be looking at something like where Fornals doesn't start. I don't think Fornals is going to be a regular this season, but we're going to see something like Sucic and Alvarez next to each other. So Edson Alvarez will take Declan Rice's spot, and then we get James Ward-Prowse kind of in that attacking midfield role. That's under the assumption that Paqueta is at Manchester City, no longer at West Ham. So those are the main questions. I guess we could see some changes. I don't think Aaron Cresswell is going to start. Ben Johnson, I don't know if he's going to start over Sufal right back, kind of a thing. I do have Danny Ings starting over Mikel Antonio. I had this in the first match. I don't know why Mikel Antonio started the opener. I think eventually it's got to be Ings, and Mubama has to get minutes. I don't think Antonio is going to last this season. I'm just not buying it. He just did not look good in preseason. He didn't look good in the Gold Cup, and I think he's got to lose starts. We'll see. Maybe that doesn't happen yet, but Ings is just more pure of a goal scorer, and I think they just need that goal scorer up front. I don't know if Antonio is what they need. As for Chelsea, I got Moises Caicedo in the starting 11. He's been there all week. He was training with Brighton maybe as soon as last week, so he's fit. He's ready to go. I think he's going to replace Gallagher. I also have a change in formation for Chelsea. This is a 4-2-3-1, which I believe is going to be Pochettino's preferred formation. They had the three center backs against Liverpool, and those guys kind of made some mistakes, and I don't know if they're going to do that again. Again, Reece James, I guess, is the big news. I kind of did not mention that from the start, but Reece James is kind of coming out that he actually has a hamstring injury, and while he's getting a scan later Thursday, I don't really care what the scan says. There's no reason if he actually feels something in his hamstring. There's no reason to actually start him this week. This guy has battled so many injuries, you just don't want to push it. So I don't think they start him. So who's going to be starting there? Could be Malo Gusto. Came on for Reece James in that last game. Though Disasi actually played at right back maybe once or twice for Monaco last season. Is kind of a versatile player. Though, I wouldn't be surprised if, I guess it's a few times that Disasi played right back last season for Monaco. Though, Colwell is pretty versatile as well. So I think either one of those guys really could play right back, maybe a little bit more defensive, obviously, than Reece James would be. But I think in this 4-2-3-1, I also move Mudryk in. So that removes, one of the center backs. Granted, Disasi is still here at right back. So 4-2-3-1, we could see a 3-4-3 again. But I still think the preferred formation for Pochettino is 4-2-3-1 with Fernandez and Caicedo playing next to each other. I just got Mudryk in there. They had a lot of opportunities to score against Liverpool, just couldn't convert. Said that so many times last season. Can these guys convert? I don't know. That's why they're looking to get players. That's why they're looking to get Olise, which did not happen. Olise did sign a 4-year deal with Crystal Palace, and that's the next thing I'm talking about. Crystal Palace here. Michael Olise is still out with injury, but he signed the deal with Crystal Palace, so it's good news for them. No changes for Crystal Palace, though. Tyreek Mitchell was healthy, played in the opener over Nathaniel Klein. Otherwise, this is pretty set here for Crystal Palace. There's no reason to change anything for them. They dominated Sheffield United, so let's run the same team out. Arsenal, I don't think there are any changes here outside of Timber, who has the torn ACL. So I guess that's a big question. There's really three options who could start at left back for Arsenal. I got Tomiyasu in here. Tomiyasu is arguably the best defender of all of them. I'm not sure if he's actually the preferred option. As we've seen with this Arsenal formation, it's kind of a 4-3-3 defensively, and then when they're attacking, Partey moves in the midfield role next to Rice, kind of a thing. So it's like a 4-2, it's like a 3-2 whatever, 3-2-4-1 or whatever, kind of similar to what Manchester City has done at times. So in that situation, Tomiyasu already a more defensive player. He would be in like kind of the back three right there next to White. and Saliba. I guess Gabriel, I didn't mention him because Ben White moved to center back. Gabriel was dropped to the bench. Again, I guess we could see Ben White. We could see back to the old formation where Ben White is at right back and Saliba next to Gabriel. These are the questions. A lot of talk about Tierney, Kieran Tierney starting at left back. He did start there against Manchester City. It could be him. There's no question it could be him over Tomiyasu, and it could be Zinchenko. We aren't really we don't really know too much about Zinchenko's situation. He's been training this week. He went a full 90. I don't even know what that means, but he played in the celebrity game for, I don't know if I want to call it celebrity, but the Ukrainian game for charity 2 weeks ago. And then he wasn't even in the squad last week. Kind of hard to tell what his actual situation here is in terms of his injury with his calf injury, because he was battling that last season as well. So those are the questions there at left back. So, I mean, going to be maybe some rotating pieces all season for Arsenal's back line, even with Timber hurt. We didn't really see that at all last season. It was kind of a set squad for him. But, with Champions League in play, it seems like Arteta is going to mix some more things up. And Ketia, no reason to bench him after last week. Maybe it's a thing where Trossard, replaces Martinelli. I don't think there's a reason for that, but Trossard could come in the starting 11. I think it's, Odegaard's going to start. Rice is going to start. I guess Havertz could move out of the starting 11. He's still, kind of gelling with his teammates a little bit. But there we go. That is it. I thought it was going to be a shorter show, but man, maybe I talked too much. Never know. We're still under 30 minutes here. But again, rotowire.com/soccer trial, 48-hour trial to check out this cheat sheet and check out all the stuff that we do for you. And then we're always busy in our Discord, rotowire.com/chat, talking about who knows what. It's a lot of DFS talk, a lot of DraftKings talk. And if you play DraftKings, play FanDuel, whatever, we got cheat sheets for all those as well. As you can see, DraftKings, FanDuel. But this is the FPL cheat sheet. And man, this odds table is really just the most beneficial thing that you kind of need for FPL. Lineups, odds table, goal scorer odds, all on one page. Can't find that anywhere else. Thank you for watching this. At RotoZdroik, you can follow me. You can also follow RotoWire Soccer at RotoWire Soccer. We got a couple comments I'll read before I head off here. Chris is asking, is that Wolfsford Cunha? Yeah, we had a little name thing here. You can click on the profile here. Obviously, you got to be subscribed, but again, if you're watching along here, just go to this FPL cheat sheet. You can find this information. But this Santos Carneiro, this is Matheus Cunha here. As you can see, 77 minutes, got 5 shots. That is him. This is his full name, 4 or 5 names, whatever it is. Actually, you can just highlight over the name here, and it'll say Cunha if you're confused at all. But thank you, everyone, for watching this. Good luck in Game Week 2. And again, we got betting shows. We'll have Kits and Wagers betting show up over the next few days. And then we got DraftKings shows as well. A lot of stuff coming at you. Thank you for watching this. See everyone next week for Game Week 3.